Okay, guys, lesson three, keys to solving the problem. Let's talk about this a little bit. What are the keys to solve the problem so they can receive their transformation? Um, First steps, we need to answer just a few questions before we get into how to solve their problems, okay? Are you taking them from start to finish? So, are you starting where someone else left off? Or are you starting the process from step one? And so, what do I mean about this or by this? if if you take somebody who's never heard about being an entrepreneur as a physical therapist or as a healthcare provider, and you start talking to them about how to grow their entrepreneurial business and how to get customers, well, they may not know anything about that or may not want to hear that because they haven't started the journey of, well, I might can be an entrepreneur and not work at a meal PT clinic or at a hospital PT clinic forever. So you may have to start from scratch. And so that's what I want to talk about. Does your product, does your book start them from scratch? Are you talking about a new diet or I know there's fad diets and all that stuff, and we should be eating healthy, but are you taking them from step one to learning, knowing that the diet even exists, to how to eat correctly for that diet? Or are you taking them steps 7 through 10? So we need to think about that. Some knowledge is going to be completely new to people. Now, I really feel like there's nothing new on this planet, but there are some things that are new to people. There's people in other parts of the world that don't know that we can do video chats or Zoom calls. So that would be completely new if you were going to teach someone how to do a Zoom call that has never seen one. For me, I know I can just click recording and go, and I can record these videos. But for other people, they don't know how to do that. I never knew how to do a podcast before. I didn't know how to write a book before. So I had to have someone address that first to even know that that was an option for me. So you have to think about that in your book. Are you starting your readers from no knowledge to all of the knowledge? Are you starting somewhere in the middle? And that's going to be um, a big part of your book. So don't assume that they have a base knowledge, and then think about how expensive is it going to be to educate them on this in time, content, and money. So, do you need to write a 500-page book to get them to where, up to speed or where they need to be to the transformation? Is this even something they can learn in a book? Maybe it isn't. Hopefully it is. You didn't write a book that it doesn't translate well, but we have to think about that because for me, I'm not going to read a 100,000-page book. I'm just not. I'm not going to read a 100,000-page or a 90,000-page book. 90,000 pages. Surely nobody's written a 100,000-page book. Guys, back up. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to read an 100,000 word, book. I want to read 300 pages or less. Forgive me for being crazy, but I don't have time to read all that stuff. So do you, whoever you're writing to, do they have time? Does their education need to start somewhere else in videos, websites, Facebook page, a group? We talked about this a little bit in the first lesson, but should there be something else that says, hey, before you read my book, why don't you go listen to my introduction video about how I got here? Could you just put that in the book? So you have to think about that. Do you need to tell them to read to a certain area and then stop? Don't read this chapter if this. Um, in Ryan Levesque's book, Ask, the first, I believe, half of the book is telling people how he got to the Ask method. And the second half of the book is the actual method. And he actually says in the first few pages, if you don't want to know how I came up with this, then skip to page 70 or 100 or whatever. But if you do want to know how, then read the whole book. If you just want to know how to implement this, then read the second half. So is that something that you need to do with your book? Maybe it is. Okay. Do you need to review each chapter? Do there need to be questions at the end of it? Do you need to have a book with a workbook style with lines in it? Should you pull out the main points and give them take home message and what now section? I really like when I read a book and at the end it says, this is a summary, or these are the things you can do right now to implement this chapter. I really like that. Do you need that in your book? Maybe, maybe not. But that's something you need to think about in giving people the keys and solving their problem. How do they read your book? We talked about this. Do they start here? Do you need to have a how-to section? So I like this. I kind of like this blueprint right here, a story and connection section. This is, hey, I'm Jeremy. This is why I wrote this book. This is where my epiphany was, or how I wrote the book, all this stuff. This is how you use my book. This is how you apply it. Download this tool or key or whatever. Do they need all that? Do we need a workbook for this course? Maybe not. Maybe you guys tell me, hey, I didn't use a workbook. Do we need something more? Do we need another resource? Do we need to do question and answer sessions more often, or have live teaching? I mean, what do we need for this to be successful? That's the same thing with the book. What do you need for it to be successful? So I want to give you this example from mine and Mark Green's Neck Pain Solutions book. It was our introduction on how to use the book. Talks about our goal, help you immediately take action, regain control of your neck pain. Have you ever spent hours reading a 200-page book? And how do I use this at the end? You're confused, you're frustrated. We don't want people to be confused and frustrated with our books. We want them to know this was the transformation I got. So within 20 minutes, you'll be able to start an exercise program to help take your control of your neck pain. Use a simple chart to get the most out of it. What hurts? Read this. Neck pain only, chapter 1. Neck pain and headaches, 1 and 2. 1 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So on. I mean, that was just what we did. And Mark came up with that, but I really like it. And I like books that tell you that so you don't waste your time. So, and then it says, as you can see, every reader should follow the program in chapter 1. And then depending on your needs, go from there. So you can do that in your book. It may not look exactly like that. You may not like that example. You may love it. Copy that, use it exactly how it is. I don't care. But figure out how you're going to give them the keys to solve their problem. How much detail are you going to go into? So to me, there's nothing worse than hearing every step that you need to take if I didn't need to hear them. If you want me to sweep the floor, I just need to know there's the floor and where's the broom. I don't want to know sweep it this way. This is why we're sweeping it. This is why I haven't swept it. It's been swept this many times before. It takes these many strokes. I just need to know that you want me to sweep the floor. I don't need all those steps. So your book may be that. It may just be, here's the broom. Here's the thing to do the thing. Now go do the thing. But you may need to say, here's the thing to do the thing. This is why you need to do the thing like this to make the thing work like this for the other thing that. Makes sense, guys? There's a lot of things involved. But do we need every step? Do we need the high points? Don't put so much that they can't follow, and do not use jargon. One of the people I interviewed for the podcast, the very first person I interviewed as an orthopedic pediatrician, and he had written hundreds, I think 450 articles when he started writing books. And he said, I was a really good writer. So I wrote my whole book and I was like, oh man, I'm a really good writer. And then he went back and he started over because he realized he was really good at writing books for other physicians, other other pediatric cardiologists. He was really good for writing books for them, but he wasn't really good at writing books for just the everyday person. So he had to go back and start over. So don't use jargon that only you and your colleagues understand if you're writing for people that don't have the same education as you. Do you need pictures in your book? I don't know. Maybe you do. I like pictures. Do they need to be black and white? Do they need to be color? Should it be high resolution? Can you edit them? Can you pay somebody? These are all questions you need to ask yourself. I spoke to somebody this week about formatting and editing their book. Now I'm going to show you how to do that in this course in later modules and lessons. But do you want to spend time doing that, or do you want to just pay somebody $50 to $100 to do it? I don't know. That's a decision you can make. I'll teach you how to do it. I'll show you how to do it. But would you rather just write the content, get it all down, and send it to somebody? I'm sure some of you would. I'm going to probably do that on some things myself, but you have to decide. Are you going to need to buy pictures? Are you going to take your own? These are all questions you need to ask. Do you even need a picture? Other formats. I think this is where some of the money's going to be for your book, guys. And I want you to understand that I want you to make money with this book, but you may not make thousands of dollars with this book. And if that bothers you and you say, man, I really was expecting this to be my go-to source of income, then that's definitely not what I want you to get out of this course. But what I want you to get out of this course is that you can take that book and you can turn it into an audio version, a CD version, a course, and a workbook, and you can have different streams of income. And we're going to talk about this really in depth in module 7 or 8, but turning it into other streams. So We can take our book and we can turn it into an audio version, because I listen to more books than I read. Okay. I used to drive an hour and 15 minutes every day. And so I listen to a ton of podcasts and books. I'm sure many of you do as well. Can we make it into a CD to give people? Maybe some of our patients want to listen to it in the car or at home or whatever on a CD form. We can do that really cheaply. You can do that. Go to Walmart and buy a case of CDs, and you can download your book. And if you have a writable disc, you can write them and give them to your patients, or you can do it, sell them on Amazon. Do you want to turn this into a course like I did? Like I said, I reverse engineered my book from my course, but you can just as easily take your book and turn it into a course. And then you can sell it just like I've done this one and make more money and serve more people. And then can you take your book and then turn it into a workbook? It's, put some lines in there for people to take notes. I think I have one over here somewhere. Oh man, I can't find it. But anyway, I have a book that was turned into a workbook, and there's all the, Dave Ramsey's done it, and Michael Hyatt's done it. There's all these people that have taken books that they wrote and then wrote a workbook to accompany that book, or taken the book and made it into a workbook. That would be 2 sources of income, 2 resources you can give your clients, your patients, your peers, your friends, your family, to serve them better and to meet their needs and transform them. Oh man, guys. So let's talk about this. Check keywords when you write your book. So we want to make titles that are catchy, but we want them to have keywords in them. We also want to have subtitles that are catchy, but have keywords as well. So how do you find those keywords? You do a Google and an Amazon search, okay? You type in low back pain. You type in low back on Google. It's going to give you 5 to 10 options each time. So the first one I typed in was low back pain, then left side stretches exercises, and on down the list. And then on Amazon, I did the same thing. Well, I've highlighted the 2 that came up the same, pain and exercises. So what if we wrote a book that said low back pain, the best low back pain exercises described here could be the subtitle, or what are the best low back pain exercises for someone with a disc disease? I don't know, guys. But that's your title and your subtitle: low back pain, and then low back pain exercise. You put this in the title, the subtitle, the book description, everywhere on pages, because we want it to rise up to the top of Google and Amazon when people are searching for it. Strength training for women, and strength training at home. I just sent this to somebody today. We talked about a program this week for her to do for women that don't want to go to the gym, that don't have enough time. Here it is. Look, it's a deal. People are searching for it. Strength training for women and strength training at home. Strength training for women, a guide on how to strength train at home. Bam, title, subtitle, description. Type 2 diabetes, diet and meal plan, Guys, write a book about type 2 diabetes for diet and meal plan. It's right here. You can do this with anything. Baldness, chiropractic, PT, knowledge, writing, reading, speaking. It's there. Do it. Again, make sure you include these in your title, your subtitle, your book description, your ads, whatever you do. Boom. Look at other books on this topic and see what they did. Guys, I talked to somebody this week and they said, there's a book like kind of what I want to write, but I don't know if I need to buy it or not because I don't want to copy. Well, I don't want to copy anybody either, but also can get inspiration. Like I have all these books over here. There's one that Paul Goff wrote. There's one that Heather Flexer. There's Mike Chua over here. There's Mikey. There's Nikita Visniak. There's Mike Gable, Heather Flexer, Breanne Showman. There's all these people that wrote books over here that I've read and that I'm going to read that talk about some of the same things I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to copy them. They inspire me to keep going and to tell my side of that story. It's okay. Check those categories. We're going to talk about categories that my book's in, I believe, in this lesson, but check the categories, see what the top 20 books are about. See what your competition is going to be, because if you're going to write the same book that was written 19 other times, then maybe that book doesn't need to be written, or maybe it doesn't need to be written the way you were going to write it. Or maybe it does, and you need to crush that competition and crush that category. That's why you need to look. So, and then also is think about your book may be in I think in Amazon we can choose 2 categories, but there's ways we can get in 10, and we're going to talk about that. Emailing Amazon and say, hey, I think my book would fit in this category. Can you please put it in there? And they should do it. So read the book descriptions. What are they including? There's something on kindlepreneur.com that you can format your book description for Amazon and make it look so much better, and people will actually look at it and read it. So we're gonna talk about that, okay? So we want to model your book description. We don't want to copy anything, but guys, we're not reinventing the wheel, okay? We're gonna try. I'm not gonna go find a new way to build a house. We already know, put 4 walls and a roof, it's a house. So, but I do like to look at other houses to get ideas of how I might want to build a house one day. Same thing with your book. I want you to check the covers of the top 20 books in your category, okay? This is not the place to let your artistic flair shine. We want the books to look similar. We want it to stand out. We want it to look similar, if that makes any sense. Because if every book looks like, has a picture of a plate with lettuce on it, and then your book has a picture of someone exercising, it's going to do one or two things. It's going to get their attention, or they're going to say, oh, this doesn't look like what the other people are doing. I don't really want to read it. Pain management, chronic pain, physical therapy, chiropractic. These are some of the categories that you can be in. Now, maybe we don't want to be in the physical therapy category, even if you're a physical therapist. Maybe you don't want to be in the chiropractic. Maybe you want to be in chronic pain or pain management. I believe that's what my book's in now. I've been in number 1 on both of those. So you have to decide, and then you can niche down even further. But that's something we need to decide about. Research Amazon reviews. Look at 1, 3, and 5 star. You can look at 2 and 4, guys, but 1, 3, and 5 I like. You're at the bottom, you're at the top, you're in the middle. Find out what people are saying, good and bad, about the book. Hey, this book didn't have any treatment in it. I bought a back pain book and it didn't tell me how to treat my back. These are all ones I read, okay? No helpful information. Gosh, how would you like to read that on your book? They didn't do anything for me. There was not one helpful piece of information in the entire book. Ugh, that would be hard to read. And then not what it says it's going to teach. Remember, tell people what you're going to do and then do it. Don't tell them you're going to teach them how to be a boomerang thrower and then teach them how to fly a kite. They're going to get mad and they're going to give you a crappy review. This book spoke to me, but I have no idea how to implement this. That was an actual review that I read. It was a 3-star review on Amazon. I think it was about a back pain book. Like the author, I felt like the author was speaking to me, but I have no idea how to use it. Have you ever been somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, they're talking directly to me? Happens to me in church all the time, but I'm like, what do I do? We got to tell people what to do and how to implement it. Here's one. This was a 5-star review. The most influential and brilliant doctor of his time. I had no idea who this guy was. I can't remember his name now, so he's probably really not the most influential and brilliant doctor of his time. But somebody wrote this in a 5-star review. So how do you make someone feel like you're the most influential and brilliant doctor of your time? You write a really good book. You tell them what you're going to do. Then you do it. Then you tell them what you did. You give them the book, and it did what you said you were going to do. You gave them a transformation. Blue ocean, guys. Guys, you got to keep your topic niche down to one person. This is slide number 5 on one person. I'm telling you, this is important stuff. We need to talk to the people that we want to talk to. And if you're going after the same people that everybody else is going after, if you're going after a bunch of people, then we're not staying in that blue ocean. We need to go after that person that we are just specifically enabled to talk to. I was going to say divinely enabled to talk to, but there's people that I can reach that you can't. There's people you can reach that I can't. Like that one person, that's my one person. You have a one person. Let's write the book to them and let's keep it for them. So ask this when I taught this live, what questions and comments do you have? And these are the questions that I got live. And then in the group, it says, when outlining, should there be a consideration for the number of pages in a particular chapter? No. I definitely wouldn't have 10 one-page chapters. But I mean, I've got a book over here on my counter that has, they're 2-page chapters. It's a small book. It's okay if like some of the best things I've ever read have been on one piece of paper. Okay. There's Bible verses that I read that are one verse and I'm like, oh my gosh, it totally changes my life. There's been Chinese proverbs I've read that have been like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. There's been 2-minute conversations that I've had with people that just changed the trajectory of my life. So no, I will tell you, the typical book is 40 to 65,000 pages, 65,000 words, guys. Gosh, I can't stop saying pages. So keep that in mind when you write your book. Some of the chapters in the book I'm writing right now are 6 pages. Some are 12, just make it do what it says it's going to do. And don't worry about that. Should total pages be of concern? Yeah. I just told you 40 to 65,000 words is the average book that comes out between 150 and 200 pages. So, I don't really want to read a 400-page book. I was trying to see if I had one over here. I don't really want to read a 400-page book. Now, I might have a 400-page reference book that I keep and look in, but let's keep it. To me, I like short and sweet. How in depth should your outline be? I did one in the lesson before this or the lesson after this. I can't remember, and I just want my chapters and then some main points in there. And if you want to keep breaking it down, that's fine. That's going to be a total, whatever you want to do. But I just like the chapter titles and then the 5 or 6 main points, and then I'll go from there. And then what's a reasonable time limit to give yourself to get an outline? That, guys, I did 5 books in 2 or 3 hours one night that I'm going to be doing. So, just give yourself however much time you need. I want you to get your book done in 90 days, but that's up to you now. I want you to stay motivated. I want you to keep going. But remember, no one has to give you permission to say, take an hour or 2 hours. Just do what you need, guys. We're all different. Same as table of contents. Yeah, your book outline is going to become your table of contents. So if you write out chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then obviously that's going to be your table of contents. So yeah, use your outline as your table of contents. So that's it on this lesson, guys. I hope you learned something. Please reach out to me in the group and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next lesson.